everybody, we're back again with the Geertop Landlope 3. It's a little breezy. Hopefully you can hear me. We got a little dirt bike going in the background, which is awesome. I just want to do a setup on this. I saw some things, some of the comments on Amazon. Folks were talking about it being difficult to set up. And like the only video that I saw on YouTube, at some point there was 3 people setting it up. So I'm going to show you what I do. Before we go any farther, I do have another video with this tent, just showing it around and stuff. And one other thing I want to mention before I get started is a lot of times people wonder if they can backpack with the tent. This is definitely a 2-person tent. 2 adults can comfortably be inside this tent and sleep comfortably. So what I wanted to say, it comes in about 10.5 pounds, but if you take the poles and the tent stakes, those are 1 ounce under 4 pounds. So 3 pounds, 15 ounces, if you were to split the weight up for an awesome tent that you could see. If you watch the other video, I converted it to a hot tent and it would just be awesome out in the woods. A ton of room and everything. So, all right, here we go. We're gonna start setting it up. You can see I didn't do anything other than set a tarp out. I like to put a tarp underneath my tents. You don't have to do this. I just think it helps with the longevity of the tent, with the bottom of the tent rubbing on the ground. I let the tarp take the damage. So, all right, here we go.
Hey, Dad, if you're wondering what happened to my face, I got in a dirt bike wreck yesterday.
Ryder wrecked a dirt bike, good. That is super glued shut. I wasn't gonna go to the doctors for that.
I think I might have sprained my hand, but I still was riding today.
All right, so we start with the tent. That's the fly. Okay, right away, the first thing I want to show you guys is there is a difference from the front and the back, and that is the front part with the bigger vestibule. That's going to have the 2 holes. Okay, so that way you know where the bigger of the 2 vestibules are going. And of course the back only has 1 hole. So that might help you out. Okay, so now let's get our stakes out. Now when you get the stakes out, you're going to see that 2 of them have this gray tape. Gray tape, gray tape. And then 2 of them have black tape. Okay? We are going to do the black ones first. Those crisscross the tent. Right, thanks for being on wind duty. Now it's very simple. I don't know if you can see from there or not, but you have slots with black, and then you have slots with gray. All right, they made it very easy to do. So I'm going to do the black ones first. I have the pole all the way straightened out. I'm sorry if this is a boring video, but if you're interested in the tent, this might help you. And then what I do is I go ahead and get that into the grommet there. But that's it. Now I'm going to do the other black pole. Maybe I'll learn how to do time lapses and this will be sped up. If not, deal with it. Just keep drinking your coffee. It's not the fastest tent in the world, but I don't think it's the worst personally. I have tents that take a lot longer. Oh, thanks, Ryan. Okay, now we move on to the gray poles. Now these ones take a little bit of finesse. You got to kind of bend them as you're going through it into a smiley face. Sorry, I'm even forgetting myself. They kind of start on the side. This is where you got to kind of start to bend them. But it's not bad. I'm telling you. The first time you do it, it might seem a little weird, but it's really not bad. Now these ones I go about 50-50 with. It'll make sense. It'll make sense once you get it set up. So yeah, there's one in already. This is not a very popular tent, but I like it. You can watch the other video. And now that I converted to a hot tent, it's awesome.
You really dying there. If you guys want to see the last video I talked about it.
You gotta speak up. You gotta speak up.
If you guys haven't watched the last video, I talked about how warm I got in this tent. I died.
Okay. Now this is where it's going to get a little weird. We're going to go back to our black poles and we're going to get those up first. And it's going to be all cattywampus. And you're going to think that you're doing it wrong because believe me, the first time I set this up, I'm like, what am I doing? But here we go. You got to trust in the strength of the poles. All right, run over to that corner and put it back in the grommet. Cool. I do normally do this with one person, but Rod was here, so yeah.
Dad, we might have a dog. Here, he gets to
Okay, see it's looking a little funky. And you're thinking that you're doing it wrong, but you're not. Just keep going. Forward momentum. And this coming out of the grommets is totally normal. Okay, as you can tell, you've got a giant blob. Louie, get out of here.
I think.
Okay, so these crisscross into these grommets. It's almost going to start looking like a tent very shortly.
And third one.
I don't know if you guys have stink bugs where you live at, but good night. You come to this side, babe? Okay, now the last one. This one is going to be tight. I mean, at least with this one, it's normal. However, I'm completely used to it, and it goes right in. And voila, you have the tent body set. I don't know if I mentioned, but this is a 6x8 tarp. Perfect. I love Home Depot's tarps. Okay, now we're going to start. We're actually going to peg this out. And I'm going to show you a little trick that might be a little weird. A lot of people do the four corners first. I actually start in the middle. So I'm going to do this one. And then I go to the other side. I'm going to do the exact opposite one, and I pull it tight. Okay, I'm pulling it tight towards me. I love setting up tents in this part of my yard. The ground's nice and soft. And then I go to this one, and I pull it away from the one I just did. Then I go do the same thing on the other side. And of course I found a rock. Okay. Now I do my four corners. Either one doesn't matter. Now these ones you don't want to push down all the way because your fly is going to connect onto them. And then once the fly is connected to them, then you can push them down all the way. I mean, it's not that big of a deal if you do it. Oh, another thing I want to mention with this tent, not only do I like it, not only has it been great, 1,000,000 times waterproof, I have never had condensation in it. And I think that's because you can maybe you can't see. This is almost like see-through. And on Amazon, it says it's a breathable polyester. Never a drop of condensation. 2 people sleeping in it. Awesome. This really has been a great tent. I would love to see Geertop make it with the stove jack like if you see in the other one. And then the wife has agreed we're going to do a snow skirt on it. All right. So if you want it at this point, it's a nice summer day, you're set. You could camp. But if the rain's coming, here we go. We got our rain fly. Okay, so we'll start here, and you have 2 toggles, and one of those, or 2 straps I should say, one of those are connected to the door. So I've actually never used it, because if it's down then you can't open the door. But you see how it just hooks on there? Nothing crazy. Do the same thing to the other side. That's why we didn't put our stakes all the way down. Believe me, after setting this tent up 15 times, I still sometimes do it. And it's the same thing over here. Now these ones are a little bit different because you'll be able to tighten them. See how they have the adjusters on there? So I usually put them on there somewhat loose to begin with. I don't know how we're doing time-wise, but it feels like a while. Okay, and then on your sides, you have these ones as well, which I kind of come out and away from the tent a little bit. That way if the water's coming down, gets it away from the tent a little bit more. No, I'm not tightening any of these up yet. Not yet. Same thing on the other side. Okay. Now we'll come do the easy vestibule. This is a smaller one. You can see we have the 2 toggles, which we could use both. However, of course, this one I'm not going to use because that becomes the door. So, and this is the vestibule that we use when it's in hot tent mode. When it's not in hot tent mode, we use the bigger vestibule to get in and out of. And you just kind of pull it tight. All right, now we go to the front. We have one more pole left, and you'll see that this pole has no markings on it, and that's going to be for the front vestibule. So very, very simple. Through the sleeve again. And then this clicks into the corresponding grommet. And then we get 2 more tent pegs. And we pull this vestibule tight. Okay, now you're actually set. If you want, you go around and you can tighten these up. And they do tighten up nice and snug. Now the only thing left to do if you want is you have your 4 guy out points here, here, and here. So whatever you want to do there, the thing's planted at this point. It really is. I've had this out in pretty good wind and it barely flutters. The only other, I've added 2 more stakeout points for when I'm hot tenting. I use these little tie out points. So I'll have a guy outline to here, and I'll just use the exact same stake and do a guy outline here. And that's only because we have our pipe going through here. But there it is, guys. Obviously taking it apart is the exact opposite. It comes with a great size bag where I put my poles in first and I just shove the tent in there. I don't sit there and roll it up or anything. I just shove it in. Now I roll it up because I got the stove jack in here. I roll it up a little bit nicer, not to hurt the stove jack. But okay, guys, that's it. Thanks. Hope this helps you guys. See you later.